Okay, we're here with Marina Costin of Acton, a Vasquez High School sophomore. And Marina participated in FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Youth Preparedness Council. And she's going to tell us about the process of the rigorous application process, what she had to do to apply, how long it took to hear back, and then what happened once she was chosen to represent Region 9, which is California, what she did during COVID with her group in order to prepare for disasters. If they talked about putting a project together, or what exactly, what was discussed during their Zooms. Because of COVID last summer, they couldn't really get together and do something in person as a group. If I remember correctly, Marina, part of Region 9, also encompasses different areas besides California. And in her Region 9 group that she Zoomed with FEMA agency personnel, I believe there were about 15 of them. And most were from Oakland, California. There was one from Guam, one from Glendale, one from Pasadena, one from Santa Clarita, and then Marina representing the Antelope Valley here in Acton. And I believe the rest were Northern California, if I remember correctly. So she's going to tell us a little bit about that and how it came about, how the whole process, and then what happened last summer. She spent most of her summer, they had several Zooms last summer in which they met, I think, once every couple of weeks or so. Yeah. And she's going to tell us what the outcome was. She did receive her certificate in the mail, but that was a year that was unlike most years, previous years, because of COVID. Usually the group would have met in person and maybe have done a group project to present to their community. But because of COVID last summer, they met via Zoom, so it was done a little differently. But nonetheless, she went through the process, and thank you, Marina, for meeting with us. It's my understanding this is the first time in our district that we've had someone from our district, a Youth Preparedness Council student on the FEMA Region 9 Council. So how did this all come about? And tell us about the application process, and then tell us a little bit about what you did and when it all started. Because this was about a year ago when this started for you. Right?
Yeah, well, I saw the application in a newspaper ad and went on the FEMA website and applied for the Region 9 Youth Preparedness Council. The application mainly just consisted of questions about what you do in your community. They were trying to sort out, find well-rounded people, I guess. So it asked disaster questions, and there were only a few questions, 9 or 10 application questions, and you filled them out.
They were essay questions?
They were kind of essay questions, but I mean there was a limit to how many words, not really essay questions. But yeah, just about your community, disaster preparedness, why you wanted to join. They were pretty basic, but a lot of people applied, I guess, because they mentioned when I got the results back that it was a pretty rigorous year, a lot of applications and stuff. But yeah, I got into the Region 9, which is our region, California, Hawaii, Arizona, and then territories like Guam and stuff. So I got accepted in.
And you had to have a letter of recommendation, or 2 letters of recommendation?
Yeah, I was part of the application process.
And then also they asked for transcripts from your school?
Yeah.
And then the actual essay questions themselves?
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay. And so you started that process last year in March, and then you found out you were chosen in May or June, or?
I don't even remember, but yeah, I think it was May or June.
And then once you found out, then they started the process of emailing you when your Zoom meetings would be?
Yeah.
Okay, and then how did that work? And who?
They would have Zooms it was every Thursday for a few months, most of the summer, and then a little bit into the school year. And the beginning Zooms were just pretty much discussing what FEMA Region 9 Youth Preparedness Council does. Obviously, it was a COVID year, so it was kind of different. I mean, it's everyone on the council was from California, and there was one person from Guam, but we were still like spread out like distances, so it was hard to like meet anyways. So we had Zoom sessions. We talked about emergency preparedness. During the summer, obviously, it was mainly focused on like wildfires and yeah, the Zooms. That's the early days of the Zooms. They would just talk about what FEMA does. And then eventually we broke off into groups and kind of discussed like our own like safety plans and disaster preparedness plans.
And did they have you present as a group, or did you ever get that far, or?
Well, because of COVID, there wasn't a lot of presenting that like when that happened, but basically my group consisted of about like 5 people, and we were the wildfire group. We like mainly discussed wildfires, and in past years, I think like FEMA, the Region 9 Youth Preparedness Council got a lot more done because they were actually able to like meet and like talk to each other. But this year we mainly just discussed like plans, and we did come up with like fire safety plans. Like I was coming up with like a plan, like if you're a senior, like what you can do, and I was making basically like a pamphlet to hand out to them.
Senior citizens?
Senior citizens during fires. And another members of our group were making like a fire safety podcast, so they were writing the script for that. Like they were just trying to get like more involved, like youth, about fire safety. But because of COVID, not a lot really got done. And yeah, the meetings started becoming like more spread out towards the end. But we did discuss a lot still about like fire safety and like plans.
And there was a time limit, so it started in June, but everything was supposed to be done by September or something like that, or it was,
Yeah,
there was a
by the end
time
of
frame?
September was the limit.
And then, what, did they say anything about what happens after, like if you wanted to continue on with something else with FEMA? Did they talk about
Yeah.
that? Or once you get your certificate, I mean, can you reapply again, or?
Yeah, if you got accepted the first year, then you get the option of going a second year or not. Like you can do that if you wanted to. Like I could continue the council this year if I wanted to.
Okay.
I assume they would like reach out to you and ask if you were still interested, because I think that's the way to describe how it would work. But yeah, there were some people on the council that had been there for like a few years already.
And I was also told that if you wanted to get your pamphlet out to senior citizens in the community, that there was a way that they could work with you to do that because you didn't get a chance to. So if you wanted to, I guess you could reach out to them, and there's resources that they can help you with. And what did you take away from that whole experience, do you think?
Well, I learned a lot about working with other people, like from afar, from a distance, and like how to communicate and stuff. Like communication was a big issue because we lived, like my group, the closest person was like in Santa Clarita, and the rest were from like Northern California or like the Valley area.
Right.
So not like super far, but some of them were pretty far. And it was really hard to communicate, to like work as a group. Like next year, I mean, if I were to do it next year, I might work individually just because I think it's easier. But I still learned a lot from like how to communicate with people from afar and how to like work as a group basically and collaborate. It's like not easy. The other thing I learned obviously is about like emergency preparedness. In the early Zoom meetings, like the advisors would talk a lot about that and just the various things. So I feel more prepared if a disaster strikes, I guess. Mainly wildfires, because obviously that's what my group focused on, and that's like a big issue in this area. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time for meeting with us, and and for taking the time out of your busy schedule when, I know that took time last summer, and to prepare and to find a place that had good internet sometimes for the Zooms. Yeah. So thank you very much. So do you want to?
Thank you to the people that wrote my letters of recommendation, Mrs. Van Ornum, my math teacher in 8th grade, And Miss Joyce, the editor of Acton Little News.
All right, well, thank you so much, Marina, and good luck to you in the future, and thank you for representing our community last summer when you did this.